So you want to know what really happened? My name is Russ Kyle. I give tours, crime tours. San Francisco. I've told you about its violent history.
I know what I saw with my eyes.
I've taken you to the places where Jim Jones, the Zebra Killers, Leonard Lake, and Charles Ng committed their depraved acts of brutality by the bay. I've taken you to Chinatown and shown you the blood-stained cobblestones from the Opium Wars there. I've walked you through the hallowed halls of City Hall where Dan White did the devil's work. These were crime tours unearthing evil in its purest form. Tonight's crime tour will take you off the beaten path. We will not be covering the infamous sites of Jim Jones, the Zodiac Killer, and the Zebra Killers. So if you've got the guts, pour yourself a stiff one, because we're going to cover 3 recent homicides. And we can provide the when and the where, but there aren't any strong whys. This recent crime wave has San Franciscans calling for the heads of the district attorney, the mayor, and the chief of police. These are crimes driven solely by testosterone and machismo. These are senseless crimes. It was at this cell phone store in the Westlake Shopping Mall where Jason De La Cruz and his sales force were employed. The sales team had enjoyed an exceptionally profitable month of March, and De La Cruz was in a celebratory mood. He wished to show his gratitude to his team for their hard work and take them out for a night of partying on the town. Sales manager Jason De La Cruz and his half-dozen members of his sales team, JD, were partying in this bar. They made their way across the street to the only place that was still open, Irving Pizza. Since it was the only place open, and it was the weekend, the place was crowded. There was estimated to be 30 people inside the restaurant and 50 people outside the restaurant. After he was inside the restaurant, and in a loud voice, so everyone within earshot could hear him, Jason De La Cruz ordered free pizza on me. An unknown man decided this was his opportunity to eat for free. He insisted on taking advantage of the free largesse of pizza. Angry words were exchanged between Jason De La Cruz and the unknown man. They decided to settle their differences outside the pizzeria, and they stepped out into the street. As previously stated, the sidewalks were full of drunken revelers. The testosterone level was high. There were many ladies present. When the jackets were removed to signal the start of the imbroglio, a friend of the unknown man stepped forward and tried to defuse the situation. He shook hands with a member of Team JD and said, "Please excuse my drunken friend." Jason De La Cruz and the unknown man decided to settle their differences amicably and head back inside the restaurant. But it's at this point that events get fuzzy. Police say a young man named Matthew O. Yang jumped out of a car and mysteriously shot Jason De La Cruz and his friend Derek Butch in cold blood on this sidewalk right here. Police say that Yang then jumped into another car with several other people and made a getaway. Police arrested and charged Yang a few days later at his home in Daly City. Police say they developed the Yang lead through testimony of numerous witnesses at the scene. But at the preliminary hearing, witnesses recanted their testimonies or implicated another unknown man who had also jumped into the getaway car. Ouyang's girlfriend, Tiffany Chang, who was in the car, testified under oath that this unknown man jumped into the car after shooting the two men. She'd never seen this guy before, but they drove off after the shooting with him. If you think Tiffany Chan's story sounded confusing, just think what it must have felt like to SFPD and the district attorney's office. They had a double murder committed in cold blood in front of dozens of witnesses. And the only description of the shooter that they had was that of a young Asian male with spiked hair in a Giants jacket. And of course, nobody knew his name. Let's just hope SFPD and the district attorney's office puts the screws to these witnesses, and maybe the memories of Jason De La Cruz and Derek Butch will be served justice. What tour of senseless crime scenes would be complete without a stop at a major sports facility? Yeah, and this spectacular yard on the shores of San Francisco Bay is no exception. Yeah, young punks drawn to thuggery, all amped up on alcohol and testosterone, are found in abundance in and around every major league ballpark. In a previous crime tour, we told you the tragic tale of Timothy Griffiths, who was stabbed to death with a knife to the heart, delivered by one Rafael Cuevas. It was right here, after a Dodger-Giant game in 2004, after Barry Bonds had hit his 700th home run. Motive for the crime? Disrespect. Cuevas' Excelsior turf had somehow been disrespected by Griffiths, which resulted in his brutal slaying. Fast forward to the post-Bonds era, and the mayhem continues. May 9th, 2008, 18-year-old Anthony Girardo was leaving a Giants-Phillies game with a group of friends. Girardo and his friends were hanging out in this area known as Seals Plaza when they encountered another group of young men. Hard looks and then harsh words were exchanged between the two groups. Girardo took special offense to verbal harassment directed at a girl in his group. It was at that point he was allegedly sucker punched from behind by Taylor Buckley. Girardo fell to the concrete and struck his head so hard that he severely injured his brain. He never regained consciousness and was pronounced dead the next day. His grieving mother spent the next day, Mother's Day, arranging for the donation of her son's internal organs.